What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the BMTroubleU. If you remember last week, I was dealing mostly in this area here, trying to get rid of the rust out of the car, or as much of it as possible. If you remember, there was a patch here where there was a bit of rust. I was hoping to clean it down and it wasn't going to be too bad, but I did discover when it was cleaned down it was a bit holy. Not that type of holy, but it did make it worse before I made it better. So hopefully that's the last of the rust gone out of the car, fingers crossed, and we can get it along with some more modifications and get it ready to get it out as soon as possible, because really I want to get some seat time in this car and get myself ready for the new season. What I'm going to be looking at this week is the fuel system. So I took the fuel tank out of the car, the standard one, when it was going welding, because obviously I didn't want it to go on fire on me. So I was deciding whether to put the fuel tank back in. The problem with the standard fuel tank is obviously it's for motorway journeys, stuff like that. It's going to take a huge amount of fuel to fill it. And when the fuel tank goes low, you can get surge, where when you're going around the corner, it actually just runs out of fuel at the fuel pump and the engine starts to die. So in any of the pro cars or my race car here, what I've done is I put in a fuel tank, but I don't want to spend a huge amount of money, being that this is only a practice day car. So I've come up with a cunning plan. Hopefully this will work. So this is a standard 20 litre jerry can, which I'm going to modify. I have a couple of nozzles to put on it to get fuel out, get fuel back in the return, and a breather hose. And it looks like it's probably not going to fit in the area where I want it to go. So I'm actually going to probably just chop the whole bloody top off it and weld on a new top. So I'm going to get on with this here. First thing I need to do before I do any welding or cutting on this is to fill it with water and empty it out. And that'll get rid of any residue of fuel or fumes or anything that's in that tank. So join me and we'll see how we get on with this. So we're at the back of the BMW here now. That's the jerry can. And I was hoping to get it in sitting on that ledge there, but the problem is it's a bit tall to fit in there. There's that ledge or that bar across there, which I don't want to cut out of it, I want to leave it in there. So it looks like I'm going to chop probably just below the handles there along the jerry can, and hopefully that'll make it fit in and we can get it into position. Okay, so I flushed it out with water, so there should be no fumes or any fuel inside in the can. So I'm going to try just cutting the handles off first and see if it's going to fit into that area in the boot, and if that works then happy days. If not, I can always cut a little bit more. So yeah, that looks pretty good. It's fitting in exactly where I wanted to. Just to make a plate to go over the top now, and we're going to have to make a new filling point for it, and of course a couple of points for the fuel lines. So that's the top welded on there now, all fully welded up. Hopefully it'll seal. We'll test that after anyway. Next up I have to make up a filler neck for it, and also then put on the 3 nozzles. So I'm going to have a fuel return on the top coming back from the engine. I'm also going to have a breather, which is going to allow the fuel to drain from the tank as it's been used. If we don't have a breather, it'll actually kind of vapor lock, so it won't allow the fuel to flow. And then I'm going to have the fuel flow out of the bottom as well, going to the engine. I do realise I'm after making a mistake. I should have left that and welded that completely after, because now when I cut into the tank for the different nozzles and stuff, I'm going to have swarf in the tank. So unfortunately I'm going to have to deal with this. Yeah, it's a bit late now, but we all make mistakes. But I'll get on with this here now. So to make up the filler neck, what I'm going to do now is I have it's an eBay spec aluminium filler neck, just nice and handy little thing. I won't be able to weld that to the steel tank, unfortunately, obviously because it's aluminium, it won't weld to steel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a neck and just use a bit of rubber tubing between them. So I'm back to my flat steel here, and I'm just going to mark on the neck there. I'm going to mark it on the steel, and if I just roll that across, okay, I'm going to start that again because that didn't really work. So I'm just going to roll that across until the mark comes down to the bottom again, and that's how much that's how I know how much I need to cut out. And I'm just going to roll that then to the same diameter. It will be the same diameter as that. Just weld the seam into it, and that should work out perfectly, I hope. We'll see. Okay, so if we can get this to bend around, it should work. So there you have it, pretty circular, as much as it needs to be anyway. Welded, ground down so that the rubber hose won't leak on it. We just need to put a bit of hose and a jubby clip on that. So I'm just going to weld that in somewhere around there. Awesome. Come on. So that's it all drilled up, and I have the nozzles fitted in there just loosely at the moment. I just have to finish welding those all up. You will have noticed that I drilled it from the bottom up. Reason for that, because obviously I made a mistake on the top. I was trying to limit the amount of swarf I was getting inside the tank. I shook as much as I could find inside in it, or as much as I could hear, but I'm just going to flush it out, say, with water when I'm finished up, and hopefully that'll get rid of the last of it. There will be a fuel filter then if there's any other little bits. So next up I just want to weld all these things up, and then I can go ahead and get that tank fitted into the car. So that is pretty much it, guys. I have the fuel filler welded in, the nozzles are all welded in. I also welded on a couple of tabs onto the tank so that it's bolted in. I have a few riv nuts put in onto the shell, so everything is bolted in. It's not quite bolted home yet, but when it is, it'll be good and solid. Before I do that, I just want to test the tank, make sure it's not going to leak, and give it a spray just to clean up. So that is pretty much it for this week. I'll just plug out this light. Next week I will be going on back into the interior of the car. I've got a 50mm cable tray which I'm going to put into the car, just run it along the passenger side, which you can't see right now. So yeah, I run 50mm cable tray, and I can put in the fuel lines, the brake lines, all the cables, all that kind of stuff goes into the 50mm cable tray, and it leaves it very, very tidy. Probably a little bit further than I'd ever anticipated going with the BMTroubleU, But at this stage, let's do it right. Let's have everything, you know, as good as I can get it, and it'll be a good car when it's finished. So join me next week, just like clockwork. Can't wait to see you then. Cheers, peace out, good luck.